Hi everyone, hope you're well. So, some of you asked me to help you with this data analysis section, and I first want to say that you would be able to know what chapter you're doing on every single paper, because they would say task 4 is data analysis, and then let's go to task 3. Task 2 is web page. Task 1 is an evidence document. So you can assume that's going to be for word processing, but all the evidence documents are Word documents. But the reason why I just said that is if you find a question difficult, go to your textbook and you'll see there's a chapter with that specific task heading there. So data analysis. And if you don't know where to find each chapter, just go to the very start under contents, and since we're doing a practical test, you just find the relevant chapter on that. So we're looking for data analysis, and it's on page 216. So I'm just going to type in here 216, and since we have 4 pages at the start, I'm just going to add this. You can just go to page 216. There we go. So you just scroll down, and then what I would suggest is go read through all of this. You have made summaries on this, and go through the specific sections and see, would you be able to name a cell? Would you be able to name cell ranges? Would you be able to do a nested formula? And if you forgot, just go back to those activities that we did and have a look at the video that I made there. Also, go through your summaries and just make sure you know how to do this entire chapter before you even start the question. But if you want to do the question first and then find out what you don't know, that's also fine. So we'll find out about that when you go through that. Okay, so what you want to do is, I have this on a PDF over here, and I'm using the highlight tool here to just show myself which parts I've already done. So you're going to create a spreadsheet to use as an invoice for Tawara Gaming Computers, so we know what this is going to be about. And what we're going to do after each time we have done a specific question here, or a single line, you just highlight it. In a test you will have a pen, and then you'll just say, okay, I've done that, I've done that, I've done that. But since we have the digital copy, I'm just going to highlight it. So, open and examine the files, proc, board, and invoice. So you need the source files to do that, and that has been attached to your assignment with the exam on. So you'll just right click on it and you'll say extract, and you choose where you want to extract it, and then it should be over here. So then I extract it, I open it, and I find the board, and while keeping in control on my keyboard, I'm going to click on proc and then invoice, and then you just press enter. You can also just double click all those files and it will open as well. I just find this a bit quicker on my computer. And let's just have a look. They actually want you to examine it. If you don't do that, then you're not necessarily going to know what this question will be about. So I just make all of this, double click when I see that symbol over there, I just double click just so that everything fits in. So we have a model name, we have a make, chipset, socket, memory slots, number in stock, price, and ID. Okay, so we have all of that information there, and this says board, so we can assume, since we know what the hardware of a computer is, that this is going to be the motherboard. So these are different types of motherboards. Okay, the other one that we need to examine is the proc, and in here we have a model i7, i5, i3, Ryzen, and if you didn't know, those are processors. So if you go into Task Manager and you go to CPU, you'll see that this is a processor. Now this is the thing that I'm sure some of you have heard of, i5, i3, all of these are processors. So it's not proc, this is the processor spreadsheet. So again, just double click on all of this so that everything shows. Okay, so this is going to be about processors, this is going to be about motherboards, and then we have an invoice over here. in the original exam, you had to create this from scratch. Now, if you want to know how to create this from scratch, then you can follow Mr. Yamad's video that I've also posted with this question paper, source files, and mark sheet. So everything is there. So the first, I think like the first 15 minutes of his video is about creating this, but I made this for you guys so that you can just use it, so you can focus on the formulas and functions. Okay, so do not edit or resave these files. We're going to use them. The model of the processor and motherboard will be typed into cells C11 and C12. So originally they didn't have anything in there. This was just clean. There was nothing inside there. They're just telling us that this is where the user is going to put in information. But in this case, for this exam that you guys wrote, I put that in there for you, just so that you already have some values in there. So they just say that invoice of the spreadsheet, and then they say the company offers a 20% reduction in the price of their products. This is something we should remember. Okay, so in exam, you should remember this, so I won't highlight it yet. Let's just read further. Which is calculated in step 17 and 18. Okay, so what they just said is, this is an important thing to know. Like if we didn't know what the reduction would be or what the discount would be, then this is where we get that information. But they said this is going to be calculated in step 17 and 18. It means they're going to tell us later to do that, so we don't have to remember anything. So we don't even have to look at these anymore. We're done. We don't have to worry. So in cell B11, okay, what I usually do is when they give me a cell to use, I immediately go identify it. So in cell B11, so right there, we're going to do something there. Use a function to look up the make of the processor. Okay, so use a function to look up what is it that it should look up? The make of the processor. So the make. So we have a processor here, and there is the make. So we're gonna have the computer look for a specific model, and it should give us the make of that specific model over there. Before I go on, there you'll see here, I'm just gonna use my red over here. You'll see that they ask for a function, we have a function, and then they say formula and formula. I just want you guys to know the difference between a function and a formula. It is discussed in the textbook. You'll see over here, I think it's a start somewhere, or here. So we have a formula and we have a function. So with formula, you have add, subtract, multiply, divide, and power. So that's something that you would do when you do math. You just type in the normal operations in there. But a function are calculations on spreadsheets, so it's already memorized by the computer. So I'm going to use the example to explain this, because I think this is maybe something you guys don't completely know the difference of, but they can actually ask you what's the difference between a function and a formula. This has been pre-memorized by the computer, so I'm going to type in 1, 2, 3, and 4. So a function would be something that has been memorized by the computer already. So I know of a function that can add all of these together. It's called sum, and if I press tab on my keyboard, which is right next to the Q on your keyboard, it's going to put in the bracket in there for me. You can also type in the bracket if you want. Then they say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, it can go on. So I can use a function to do that for me. So I can just say 10. Okay, so that was quite quick. So I know I explained it now, but just see the speed at which I can do this. Okay, 10. With a formula, you have to say that plus that plus that plus that. Okay, that is a formula. Yeah, that's a formula. So in this case, we only had 4 numbers. Didn't take that long. But imagine you had to get the total price of all of this, and now you have to go say that plus 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 it will take really long. Or you can just say sum, just sum all of this, close the bracket, press enter. There we have the total. So functions, and the other thing is you can also change the value inside here, and then it will update there as well for both the formula and the function. But a function saves time, so I hope that helps. So a formula is something that you're going to do operations with. I can say minus, I can say times, I can divide, I can say let's say 2 to the power 4. So I'm going to say 2, oh no, sorry, I'm going to say 2 because that's 2, and then I'm going to say to the power 4, which is 16. Okay, so it's just normal mathematical operations, so that's the difference between a function and a formula. But this time they told us or asked us that we should use a function to get this value. So we should look up this value inside of the processing table. So look for that value over here, and then it should give us the make. So the make of this model. So most of them are intem, and these are AMEs. So I'm going to start with the function lookup, because they told us it should look up. So you have a lookup, you have a H lookup, a V lookup, and an X lookup. And for all of these, you'll see a little pop-up hint over here telling you what exactly it does. So ideally you shouldn't have to read through that, but you can. I'm going to use the VLOOKUP. It's most relevant in this case. So I just used my arrows, and then I pressed tab for it to auto-complete it for me. Now they say, what is the lookup value? Currently my formula is overlapping my actual value that I'm going to look for, but I know it's C11. So look up that value in C11, and that's the thing that the user will put in, so this can change. And then they say table array. So we're going to look for this value in the processing workbook in this table. So this entire table, I want to find C11. So this formula went over from our spreadsheet over here into this workbook over here. So next you put in a comma, and now you see column index number. So this table has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns, and we want the column index number, and all that that's saying, what column's value are you looking for? So we're looking for the make, which is 1, 2. So it's the second column. Next, you say comma, and now range lookup, approximate match or exact match. In this case, we want an exact match. So you press tab, or you can type in false, and just close the bracket, press enter, and you'll see that this is intem, which is exactly from this model. And that was use cell 11 for the lookup value. Okay, we've done this, and the processor file for the array. Okay, so we used the processor for the array, and we used cell C11 for the lookup value. But in the exam, they didn't have that value there, so there was a hashtag NA over there. But your formula is fine. That's the thing that they're going to mark. So you can type in any model number from this list over here. I can even say this A9, I9, and it will still give us the correct value. So you can decide what you want to put in there for now, just to test it. So don't freak out when you get, don't freak out when you see something like that. That just means it's not available. Value not available. Okay? That just means that in our function there is nothing to find in this table. So they're just telling us we have nothing to find. So let's just put something in there for it to find. And let's go to the next question. In cell B12, okay, B12, here we go. Probably going to do the same thing. use a function to look up, so we're going to use the lookup function, the make of the motherboard. So we've been using the processing workbook now, so let's use the board processing this time. So I just have that close to my alt tab option so I can go between these two. And let's go to the question, and they say use cell C12 for the lookup value and the board file for the array. Okay, so equals VLOOKUP. Lookup value we said C12. Table array. So where are we going to look for this value? Okay, we need to go open this workbook. I want it to be looked for in this table, and I can continue the formula here because this formula comes from this workbook over here, and it says column index number. What is it that we're looking for? Model, make, chipset, socket, memory slots, number in stock, price, or ID. So the question said we need to find the make, which is the first, second column. And we say false, and we want the exact match, that's why we say false. And we say enter, and then this is a suit. Okay, so I believe that should be right. If you want to test it, just say copy, go to this workbook, press Ctrl F, find that by saying find next, and you can see here is the one that we've been using, and you can see that the make is actually a suit. Now if you were to change this column index to 4, it says 1151. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1151. If I made it 5, DDR4, so if this was the 4th one, then this would be the 5th one. Okay, so I hope it makes sense of what this column index number means. So 2, a suit. Next, in cell D11, okay, let's find D11, D11, price. Okay, this is probably going to be the price. Look up the price of the processor. Now you can see this is only 1 mark. We had 5 marks for this one, so we should probably do something quick with this. So in cell D11, use a function to look up the price of the motherboard. So since this already looks for this value over here, I'm just going to copy this formula, put it in price. It's going to say not available because there's some things that we need to change. You'll see that now we're looking for the value of E3, E11. We don't want to look up for that value, we want to look for that value. So I just take that and I click on C11, and if I press enter now, it works. Only thing now is we have the second column index, which gives us the same as the make over there. So we're going to look for the processor, so I open my processor Excel document and we want to find the price. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to say instead of 2, we're going to say 7. And then I just format copied this one because I realized that before I did that, you'll see that we excluded that little line there. So I just format copy that one so that we have the same format there. And we are probably going to do the same thing for the next one, but let's make sure. You just follow these steps by step. Okay, in cell D12, okay, let's go to the right one. D12, we're going to put in a function, so use a function to look up, so we're going to use the lookup function, the price of the motherboard. So in this case, I'm just going to copy that, paste it in there. Instead of E12, I want to look up that model number, press enter, and now I'm also just going to format copy that. So you click on the cell that you want the other one to look like, and now you click the one that you want to change. And now you'll see it just puts that back there. Then, oh yeah, we need to find the price of the motherboard. So this is the processors and this is the board. Let's just see where the price is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here, instead of column index 2, we're just going to say 8. There we have the price over there. In cell D14, okay, D14, use a formula. Okay, so remember, not a function, a formula, to add the price of the processor. So add means plus, so you're just gonna, oops, you're just gonna have a adding of processor price and the motherboard. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna say this equals that plus that. So the price of the processor plus the price of the motherboard, and that gives us a subtotal. We've done that. They gave us a whole minute to do that one. In cell D15, use a formula to calculate the discount that will be offered in this invoice. So we need to work out what is the discount of this invoice. Then they tell us the discount rate is 20% of the subtotal. So 20% of the subtotal. So that's going to be, start with an equal, 0.2 times my subtotal. And just press enter. So this is the discount of that. Just for in case, 20, let's say, let's just do this. Just going to make this into percentages. 10%, 20, well, let's make it 201, 34, and 12%. Okay, so with percentages, if you want to turn them into decimals, it's just going to be 0.1, 2.1, 0.3, 4.58, 1.2. No, my bad, 0.12. Okay, so I hope you know how to do that. If you do not, you can just send me a message and I'll see if I can explain that, but that's a math concept. But I just said 0.2 because it's 20%. I just want to see if it would be possible if we can say this, 20%. Oh, it gives you the exact same thing. So you can even say it like that. Just make a double sure, so 20% equals 0.2. Oh, it is. 0.2 is the same as 20 divided by 100 and 0.2. Yes. Okay, so you can also do it like that. So if you don't want to do the math, that's fine. You can just put in the percentage sign in there. I usually don't do that. I just use decimals for my percentages, but I mean you can put that there. That's 100% correct. Then that's done, and then in cell D16, so D16, use a formula to calculate the invoice total. So a formula we need to use. So it's going to be this minus this, because the total would be the subtotal minus the discount. So this is the invoice total. Awesome. Format. Okay, when you see the word format, you know that you're going to do something over here. I think you can also, if you want to format a specific cell, you can right click on it, and then there should be a format option here. Yeah, format cells. You can also do it there. So format cells over there, or you can go here and format cells there. So that's a format. You can also format it like this over here. More number formats. Okay, so 3 ways. You can do it there, you can do it here, or you can say format cells over there. So we want to format. So when you see the word format, you know what you're going to do. Then they say format all currency values as dollars with 2 decimal places. Okay, so we're going to format all of our currencies. Since that cell over there isn't a currency, I'm just going to keep control in on my keyboard. And you can say format cells, or you can click here. Doesn't matter. I usually like this because it's quicker. Here I have to click one more time. Here's just clicking once. And then we need to make it a currency, and we need to make it dollars, so I'm just gonna make it United States dollars. Decimal places, you can choose how many decimal places you want, but they specified 2 decimal places, so we say okay, and right now you can see we have our dollars over there. Next, save your spreadsheet. Okay, so save. You can also say save as and give it a new name, but I don't think they specified what we should save it as, so we just go over the invoice. Then they say print your spreadsheet using, oh no, spreadsheet showing the formula. So if you want to show the formula, currently we are seeing the values. But if you want to see the formula, you just go to formulas and you say show formulas. Thing about this is if you cut off your formula, so you'll see there we have a model number, but this formula is not complete, just make sure that everything is showing. So just double click on the headers over here, and I think this is everything included. Everything should show now. Yes. If you don't show everything, you can't get all of your marks. So just make sure when you show your formulas that everything is showing. Okay, print your showing the formula. Okay, we've done that. Then they say make sure, and again they say print. So we are going to print this. It is in landscape orientation. Okay, so file, print, and it's currently in portrait orientation. So we're going to say landscape orientation. And the row and column headings are displayed. Okay, row and column headings, they're not necessarily these actual headings. You go here to scaling and you say custom scaling options, and you go to sheet and then you say row and column headings. So now you can see here are the column headings and here are the row headings. And the row and column headings are displayed. The contents of these cells are fully visible and can easily be read. So I am thinking fits sheet on one page. So I'm just going to put it like that, so everything is on one page. Everything seems nice and clear, and someone would be able to mark this. So this depends if you have an actual printer connected, and if the question paper actually tells you to print it as a PDF, or if you should physically print it out. But just choose the relevant option. So printing as a PDF, that's something that you can mark on your own. So I would suggest print this out like that, and then you don't have to waste any paper. And I know Cambridge is also starting to give censors memory sticks for the exam so that they can upload all of the digital printouts on there. So just know if you can print on an actual printer and on a PDF. So yeah, so that was the one question, save your spreadsheet, and this is going to be printout 2. Make sure you've entered your name and surname on your spreadsheet showing the formula. Print this as a PDF document named printout 2. Place this printout in your source folder. Next, print your spreadsheet using the values, showing the values. So we said show formulas here to show the formulas, but now we want to see the values. So you just click again there. If you forgot how to get there, just say formulas and show formulas. If you hover over it, you should see there's a keyboard shortcut, control, and I'm going to call that the acute sign. So you can just do that, save some time, then you don't have to do some extra clicking. Knowing keyboard shortcuts just makes your life a bit easier. And when you change everything, just make sure that everything is spaced correctly. So the printout fits on a single portrait page. Again, file, print, and it's in landscape, so we make it portrait, so it's portrait. Row and column headings are not displayed. Okay, so we go here, custom scaling options, you say sheet, row and column headings has been checked, so I'm going to say no. You'll see that removes the columns and the row headings. And contents of these cells are fully visible and can be easily read. So it seems that you would be able to read this. Yeah, and that's that. I hope everything is clear. If you guys have any specific questions, I really want to help, but with this one, someone just told me they don't understand Excel, so well, not someone, there were like 2 or 3 of you just said you don't understand this question, and I didn't know what part exactly, so I covered the whole thing, so that's why the video is so long. But I hope it helps, I hope it makes it clear, and yeah, just let me know if you guys can give me specific questions. Like, let's say you got up till this point and you're like, what is a function to look up the make of the motherboard? First of all, I would like you to have read through the chapter first. Um, but you can ask me. I will probably refer you to a chapter or ask you if you have read the chapter. But yeah, everything that you should know is in the textbook over here. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day and good luck with studying. And I hope this helped with the questions. Okay, bye.